Greetings, everyone, and welcome you all to the Creator Tech Connect series for the month of January. So, we are excited to kick off the first Tech Connect session for the year, and thank you, everyone, for taking your time and joining with us today. So, before we get started with our Tech Connect session for the month, let me quickly give you an introduction about what is the Creator Tech Connect series is about. So here in this particular Tech Connect session, we will be focusing on advanced concepts in Creator and few best practices along with few real world use cases in Zoho Creator. And adding on to that, we will also be focusing on few release updates in our Tech Connect sessions, right? So this would allow users to get know more about the Creator platform. So in that context, for this particular month, we will be discussing about environment in Zoho Creator. To set a quick context about the session, so we know that as application grows, the complexity and managing the application, bringing in new changes would be a critical part, right? So that is what we'll be discussing, how you can push in new updates or new add-ons into your live application without hindering the existing data. So through this session you will understand how you can structure and develop and deploy the overall application that you have with yourself, right? So before we get started, let me quickly give you an introduction about myself. I am Pungoday from the Zoho Creator training team, and I'll be taking you through this 1 hour webinar. So let's get started with the agenda for today. So we will quickly take an understanding about what are environments in Zoho Creator and why are they important. And we will also understand the different environments that are present, which are the development, staging, and the production environment. So we will also take a demonstration on how you can use demo users to test the changes before you push any changes into the live application. And we will also discuss about the application statuses and the version management within the app. And to have a quick understanding, we will also take you to a live demonstration on how you can push new changes into environment, test them out, and publish to live. So to sum up the session, we will also share a few key pointers that you can take down or note down whenever you're working with the environments, right? So now let's get started with our session, which is environments in Zoho Creator. So in Zoho Creator, environments provide a structured way for you to manage your application lifecycle. So instead of directly making change in a live application that might hinder the user interaction or that might hinder the activity within the application, you can allow your application to work in isolated stages where uh, this will never impact the live application that you are currently using. So whenever you add new changes or whenever there's any update in an application using an environment, your users are never impacted with any incomplete or any experimental changes that you do within the application. So we here we'll be looking on how you can get into the structured approach to develop your application, test them, and deploy the application changes efficiently for your live user. So this would become very helpful or important when you are working with, let's say, multiple developers in a single application, or when you have a lot of users or developers working in a single application for the development part, or when you are introducing new complex or advanced features within the application, or if you want to test changes before you want them to be released to the end user, right? So in simple terms, how you can understand is that you will be able to bring the overall control to your applications development process stage by stage using the environment. So let's first understand what are the different environments that you can find within the Creator platform. Starting with the first one, which is the development environment. And then we have the staging environment, and then we have the production environment. So these are the three different environments that you can find in Zoho Creator. So we will explore on how you can use them to the fullest to bring out your application development and testing, and how you can have it published to the end user as well, right? So let's enter into these options one by one. So before we enter into the different environments, let's understand where you can find these environments, how you can enable these environments for your Zoho Creator application. So this is my dashboard. So this is where you can find your develop, deploy, and manage section under your admin dashboard, correct? So under that, you have deploy section, correct? So under the deploy, we have the environment. So once you enter into your environment, this is how it would look like, where you can see all the applications that is being pushed into the environment, and the different versions of the environments are visible, whereas these are the different versions that you will be adding into the environment for testing or to to have it published to the live or the end users, right? We will be discussing about this in detail in the upcoming demo. Now let's understand about these three different environment. So when it comes to development environment, you will be able to build and modify the application, and when it comes to staging, you will be able to test the changes that is being pushed from the development to the staging. And then under the production is where you will be able to access the live user interaction. So if you are making any new changes, or if you have any live application that is accessed, that would be considered as the production environment here, right? So this is the step by step process that we'll be following, and the three different environments here. So first we'll build and modify the application under the development environment. Second, you will be testing those changes that has been made under the staging environment. Third, at last, once the testing is completed and you're sure about the new changes or updates, you will be able to push it into the production environment. So this is how the process would go on. Now, let's understand these different environments one by one. So as I mentioned earlier, development is where all the changes are made. So this is the only environment where you can edit forms, workflows, you can add few dilute scripts and customize the UI component, or even customize the page component, and then you will be able to push it into the next environment for the testing purpose. So in the development environment itself, you have a live preview to validate its functionality. So as you develop, you can also test out how it is working or functioning in the live or in the production as well, right? And then you have the staging environment. So this is the second environment that you can find. Once the development is completed, it will be moved to the staging environment for the testing purpose. So once changes are published from the development, here is where you will be able to view them, and you will be able to validate workflows, test the integration, perform the user acceptance testing without affecting the end user interaction. So a point to be noted over here is that whenever you perform testing, obviously you will be entering some data to check how the application is working, correct? So in that point, when you are adding data, the data added to different environments are separated. So the data that you're entering into these environments will be siloed from one another. So if I'm adding any data within my development environment for any testing or development purpose, it will be siloed from the staging environment. So each data that you enter in different environment will work separately, right? And once the testing is completed and you're sure, you'll push the changes from the staging environment to the production environment. So this is where the live environment, this is where the live users will be able to access the application. So changes are published here only after successful testing in the staging environment. So here as well, the data in this environment will be separate from the development and the staging environment, right? So here the major key idea of the environment is that a progressive movement is being made. So changes always flows from the development to staging, and then finally to the production for the live end user to access it, right? And now let's understand how you can add your application into environment. So far we hope that you got an idea about how what are the different types of environments that you can find. Now let's understand how do you add applications into the environment. So when it comes to adding applications to environment, you can add them in two major parts, which is before your app is getting created. When you are getting started with creating an application, at that point of time you can enable the environment. And the second one is after you have successfully created the application. So let's get into deeper understanding on these two major concepts. First, during app creation. So when I'm trying to create an application from scratch, you will be provided with an option enable environment. So once you enable that checkbox, your app will be added or listed in the environment dashboard when you're creating it from the scratch itself. Right? So let me share a sample screenshot. So when you're creating an application from scratch, this is how your window would look like, where you will name the application, and beneath that you can find enable environment. So you have a checkbox before that, right? So you can enable this checkbox if you want to have your applications enabled to the environment, right? And once you get started with creating an application, your application will be created in the development mode, and post that you can push it to staging and then to the testing. We will also see a demonstration on how this will be accessible by end users. And now, after creation, so once you are creating an application from scratch, you will be able to push it to environment. What if you have a existing app? So what if you already have a live application used by end user, but you want to make some changes and you want to alter some UI or UX related components? So at that point, you can make use of the after creation, and you will be able to add an application into the environment. So how do you do that? You can add the application from the solution page, or you can add the application from the environment dashboard that we saw earlier. And also I can add the application directly from the summary section from my admin dashboard. So these are the three different ways on how you can add a existing application into environment. So we know that either if you're creating it from scratch, you'll be able to upload it into the environment, or after you have successfully created a application, a live application itself, you'll be able to push them into environment for any new changes that are coming up, right? So let me take you to a quick demonstration on how you can enable environments for your application. Right. So this is my admin dashboard. This is my Zoho Creator account. And you can see we have develop, deploy, and manage. And under deploy, we have the environment. So this is where all your applications that you've created and that are within the environments are listed. And you have the development environment, the staging environment along with their version, and the production environment, right? So we'll discuss about these section in upcoming demonstration. And you can see we also have few buttons that are available on top of this page, where we have version history, add application, and publish. So we'll explore these options one by one. So this is how the environment dashboard, the environment tab would look like. So now let's get started with adding application to the environment. So we were discussing about adding an existing application into environment, correct? So how do you do that? So you can see we have the admin dashboard. From here, I can choose the card layout of my application, and once I click onto this more, we have add app to environment. So this is one way of adding an existing app into the environment, right? And in case if I would like to add an application from the summary section, so I can just simply choose this, open the summary, and once you open the summary of this application, you can see add app to environment. So this is another way of adding an application to the environment. And then we have the environment tab. So let me enter into environment. From here, I'll be able to add an application to the environment. So before we add an application to an environment, let's check out the application that we'll be using. So for the demonstration purpose, I'll be using the Zilker order management application, where we have our own dashboard, some data that is already available. This is a live application used by some end users, where we have order details and we have job sheet and some product related information. We already have some data that is available, and even we have few enquiries related to the products that have been purchased, and we have few other modules altogether, right? Now, when you try to access this application, this would be the end user view, right? And if you enter into the edit mode of this app, let me enter into edit mode of this app. So this is how the access this application would look like, the environments and the components and so on, right? So this is a normal edit mode. Now let's check out the difference that you can find once you add an application into the environment. So what I'll do, I'll make use of add application. And once you select the application, and let me give the name, and then you can see we have a pop-up denoting that developers who have been previously added to this application will be removed. And once you add the application into environments, you will have to re-add the developers into your preferred environment. So if you want to give them access to staging, or if you want to give them access to the production, and then you want to give them access to publish the changes to next stage to another, you will be able to configure that when you are adding a developer. So first we will add the application into the environment. So once you choose add, you can see we have the application getting added, and we have few statuses denoted beneath the app name. So let me come back to this particular option. So let's refresh this tab once. Waiting for the stage app creation and publish is in progress. Let me refresh it once again. Yeah, so while it gets added, what we'll do, we will understand what are these statuses that you can find within this particular environment for your application. So yeah. So whenever you add an application to environments, you are provided with few of the common statuses, and you also have few of the custom statuses related to the different environments that you are pushing an application into. So when you talk about few common statuses, you can see no changes available, changes available, and we also have locked mode of an application. So we have different set of statuses that you can find beneath the application whenever it is being pushed from one environment to another, right? So let me share you few of the statuses. The first one, we have development app not yet created. So where when an application is added to the environment but not yet created in the development or the staging environment. And then creating development application, so where system is creating the app but temporarily it is inaccessible by anyone. And then we have waiting for dependent apps. So this is where you will be waiting for any other dependent apps to be created within the environment. And then waiting for stage app creation, whereas created in the development environment, but we are waiting for the stage creation for that specific application. And once the development app creation is completed, this is how the notification would look like. In case if you have any error during the development creation or the app creation within the environment, you will receive this error in app creation. Similar to the development environment, we have few other set of statuses for the staging environment as well. So before we enter into the staging environment, so you can see this is a sample screenshot that we have added for the development environment status. So you can see we have creating a development app, and we have no changes available, and here we have the changes available, right? Apart from this, we do have few more statuses that we saw earlier, right? Now let's talk about the stage environment statuses. So under the stage environment status, you can find stage app not yet created, and in case it needs a manual start or a development creation failure, this is how it would denote through the status. And then waiting for development app creation. So the stage waits until the development is completed. So once the staging environment is created, creating stage app. So that is how a status will be denoted to you. Whereas if it is failed, and if the dependent applications is failed for the staging environment, dependent app failed in the stage. So these are few of the status that you can find. Right. So here's a sample screenshot creating stage app. So this is one of the status that you can find. And on top, you can see stage app not created yet. Right? Based on these statuses, you can identify or find out what is the current stage or current status of the application that is being pushed into the environment. So let me take you to a quick demonstration on how you can view the application. So let me refresh it. Yeah. Now you can see under the ZHA order management, we have no changes available and we have one version available for the staging and the production environment. So let's take a look at the application which is pushed into the environment. So this is the application, and earlier we saw how the edit mode was looking like. Now let's check out the edit mode. So now it looks the normal form builder. We have the other different features as it is. However, when you try to access this application, you are provided with three different options apart from just access this live. So we have access development live, stage live, and production live. So this is where you will be able to view the different changes, testing that you're making in the live mode. So let me open these separately. So this is my development environment. Based on this tagging, I can understand that this is currently in my development environment, and currently this is in my staging environment based on the tagging. And here, this is currently my production environment. So based on these options, the tagging, you will be able to understand which live mode you are accessing and how the changes is being moved to the three different environments. Right? So now let's try to make a change or update some information over here and check how it is being pushed to different environments. So for this, let me enter into the edit mode. And here, what we'll be doing is that we'll be making use of the contact us form. So before we access this component, I'll just quickly highlight about the data that is being stored. So we saw that we had some existing data in the production environment, right? However, when you check out the info or the data application in the development environment, or let's say in the staging environment, the data is not available. So what you need to do is that you need to add some information over here. All the data that was in the live mode of the application is only available within the production mode, whereas other two environments will not hold any data. If I want to test any feature or test any new update that you are making, you can add information, add data to this particular environment application and test it out. So let's import some data here. So this is the development environment. I'm adding some data, so which has 3 record. I'll import it. Right. And similarly, let me add some data here. You can see, even though if I've added data in the development environment, it is not visible in my staging environment here, right? So let me import some data in the staging environment of my contact us form. So currently here I'm importing around 5 record. Import it. So now you can see the difference. We have few records in the development staging, and we have the live app that is not hindered. The data has not been affected once you have pushed into the environment. So this is how it would normally function when you are pushing your live application into the environments and try to add any changes over there. So let's try to add a new change. So what we'll do, we'll make use of the contact us form. So when you talk about a contact us form, this is where the users will interact and share their details. If they have any concerns or queries, it will be added over there, right? And now what we'll do, we need to capture few more details under the contact us. So what we can help you with, along with that, we are also supposed to capture what type of product they are trying to discuss with us, or what product they are trying to imply over there. So for that, I'll simply add a single line to capture the product details. And once you have added the product details, Let's check out the development environment. So you can see under the development environment, we have the product details. As we know, only in the development environment is where I can make the changes for this application. Whereas in my staging environment, let's check if the changes is reflected. No, because we have not pushed this change from the development environment to the staging. Similarly, when you try to access your app in the production environment, it will not be visible. So for this to be pushed into next upcoming environments and to be tested, what we can do is that we can make use of the environment tab here. And now when you check out the environment tab, you can see changes available for this particular application. Now what I'll do, I'll publish the changes. So you can see we have a button on top right. So I can click onto it and I can push it to the staging environment. And once you click onto that button, you can see we have two different applications provided. So what are these two apps? So all the application that had changes will be listed here. So since we know only when you have some changes in an development environment, only then you will be able to push it into the next stage. So we'll choose the ZHA order management and click on to proceed. And you can see the list of information. And here we added the product details. Since we have added a new field, it is showing me as added. If I've modified any information or if I've deleted any field, it will be highlighted based on that specific detail. And now let's click on to proceed. Here comes the part where you are defining the version of an application. Since you're making some change into a live app, we need to track the version of that particular application, correct? So for that, we need to enter the required details. So I'm going to give a title for this version where we have made the product related changes. So we'll give it as changes. This is for the contact us form. And we are adding the product details. And I can just give a detailed description as added new field. Right? And next comes the part where you will have to mention the type. So is it a major change or is it a minor change? So based on this, you will be able to understand the version that you are trying to publish. If it is a major change, the version will be V1.0 to V2.0. Whereas if it is a minor change, it will be denoted as V1.0 to V1.1. Now what we'll do, since it is just we have added a simple field over there, we'll just mention it as minor change. And if I want to send out a notification related to this particular update, we can send out. So I'll give a email. So that we can notify that user that we have added or we are publishing a change into the staging environment. And please be noted, the application will set to maintenance mode and it will be inaccessible till it has been published to the next component. So let's give it as publish and let's go to the environment. Here during this period, the application will move into logged mode. So when I try to edit this application, so you can see the application is under maintenance mode due to publishing progress. So once it is completed, only then you will be able to access the edit mode of your application. So even if any other developer is trying to edit this app, at that particular point, it will not be accessible by that user. So now you can see the changes has been pushed to the staging environment. Let me refresh the window. Right. So here now I can enter into the edit mode. Right. So this is a logged mode of your application when you're publishing one change to the another environment. Right. And here you can see the version difference. So currently we have the live app as 1.0, whereas we already have a testing application in the version 1.1 in the staging environment. Once you test it here and publish it, the staging will be updated over here in the live mode. Now, let's take a look at the application. So we had the product details in the development. Let's check out the staging environment. Let me refresh this window. You can see since we have published the change from the development to the staging, the product detail is listed here. However, when you check out the live mode of the application, it will not be visible. So how do you access this particular change in the live mode? So what you need to do is that you need to once again click on to publish and move it to the production. Once you're done with this testing in the staging environment, you can push it to the production. So let's click on to production, and here you can see the version. So changes was made in the contact us form under the product details, and then the version history v1.1. So let's click on to proceed. And here comes the part publishing your changes into the live application. So in case if you want to publish the changes immediately, you can publish it. Whereas if you do not want to hinder the application when it is in the live mode, or you know that a lot of users, live users, are accessing your application at that point of time, and you want to choose any specific idle time of your app, you can choose this publish later and choose a specific point of time where your application will have a downtime. At that point, you can publish the application. So since we know that the application will be under maintenance mode and it will not be accessible, so you can publish it at any specific point of time, right? And we were also discussing about the send email notification, right? So earlier when we were trying to publish it from the development to the staging, we sent out a notification, correct? Let me quickly check if we have received the information. Yeah, so you can see published to stage completed. The following version has been published to the staging environment. So this is a sample notification you will receive based on the changes that you make and the send notification mail that you send out. And yeah, now what we'll do, we'll just quickly publish it immediately since it is a simple change. And let's go to the environment and check out. Right. So now the change has been added. So we have the v1.1 version. Let's check out our live mode of our application. And here you can see based on the update that we made, it is now available in the live mode of the application, right? So this is how you push your changes from one environment to another based on the testing and the performance that you find here, right? Now, apart from this, we were also referring about testing your application, correct? So how do you test your application based on different set of user? We know that when you access an application, it is not just only the admin view. We have different set of users who will have only specific permission to an module or specific permission to a field. How do you test them out when you are working with environments? So for that, we have something called as testing with demo user. So when you are adding demo user, you will be able to assign a role and permission to the demo user based on the application. And then you will have a similar real life user access based on the permission role, and you will be able to test them. So when you add demo user, you can add them in the development environment or you can add them in the staging environment. So let me show you where you can add the demo user. So we have something called as settings within the environment for different set of environment. So under those settings, you can find the demo user. And once you add demo user, this is how it would look like. So you'll have to choose the demo user name and then the permission and the user type. So let me quickly take you to the live mode of this, the configuration for the same. So let me enter into my environment, and here you can see under my environment tab, you have the application. And here we have an option called development, staging, and production. So under these different environments, you have edit access. We know that under development is where you can edit an application. Access is where you can access it in live. And here we have something called as setting. So for each and every environment, we have its own setting, logs, and export option for that specific version of the application. So let's first explore the settings of the development environment. So once you enter into the setting of your development environment, you can see we have demo users. So let me add demo user. So when you talk about adding demo user, it will be based on app user and also based on the portal user. So let's give the name for the demo user 1. and the type would be app user, and the permission. So we have already configured the permission inventory manager, and the role also set to be inventory manager. So let me add demo user 1, and then we will add another demo user based on a different permission, which is the manager. So we'll give the role as manager and add the demo user, right? And then let's also add a portal user. So obviously when you create an application, you will also be creating a portal for external user. So let me choose demo user 3 as name, portal user, and the permission to be vendor. So let's add the 3 set of demo user. So now that we have added the demo user, let's explore the application. Right. So this is currently my development environment. And as you can see, the demo user is added only to the development environment. So now how do I access this? Let me refresh the browser once. Right. On top of your browser window, you can see we have view as myself. And when you choose this drop down, you can find the demo user 1, demo user 2, and the portal user configuration. So first we'll check out the demo user 1 permission, which is for the inventory manager. Once you select that permission, you can see the inventory manager will be able to access only the dashboard and the product details. So they can enter the details over here. So he can enter the product related information and he can view the dashboard. And when it comes to the manager, the module specific to the manager, dashboard, order details and order form, and the product details will be listed. And what about the portal user? Based on the portal user permission, only the order form will be listed for them. So let's take a look at that. Right. So here we can see the permission is for the demo user 3, which is for only the order details are listed over here. Right. So based on this, you can configure and add different demo user based on the permission and role and test out the application. Apart from this, we also have notification. If you have configured any notification within the application and you want it to be executed, or if you do not want it to be executed, or if you want the email to be sent out to any specific user or login user, those kind of configurations can be enabled over there, right? And similarly for mail notification, we have SMS, we have push notification. So this is where when you enter any demo data, you do not want it to be sent out to or to those demo entries that you make, but you want it to be sent to the login user who is testing it out. So that is possible, right? And when it comes to AI model, all the AI model that you have published within this application will be listed. So here currently we do not have the AI model because all the AI model that was previously created by us in the earlier version, such as the prediction model, will be listed over there. If you have any newer versions AI model, those models can be managed under the microservices. So if I have any new model that I've published and that is in the environment, I can just take a look at the model, and within that model, you can find the model deployment, where environment production, environment staging, and the deployment. Similarly, you can find it for the other different models that you have used. So you can see we have the production, under staging, and under development as well, right? Now getting back into the environment setting, right? So apart from the AI model, we have variables. So if you have configured any variables within the application, if you have created any variables across the application component, they can be managed and accessed from the application setting. However, here you will be able to view the respective variables under the environments over here. So you can find the defined value and the current value. So when you talk about the defined value, which would remain the same. However, when you define a current value based on any modification that you want to perform through workflows, that will be updated over here under the current value, right? And then the workflow schedule. So if you have created any scheduled workflows, if you want them to be executed based on the demo data that you have entered, you can enable it. If you want to suspend all the schedules and you do not want any scheduler to run based on the demo data, you can have it configured, right? So all these options that we saw right now are specific to the development environment. Whereas if you want it to be configured for your staging environment, you will have to add them separately. And for the production environment, we have the variables alone for you to configure and check out them. Right? So this is about the setting. Apart from setting, we also have the logs. So where the log specific to the action type, form action, schedules, email data, integration, pages, payment, batch workflow, and other functions will also be listed. Let's check out the production. So we have few of the logs that are available where we had some error in executing the send email notification action. That is for order details through email notification, and the timestamp is being captured, and the type of action is form actions. Right? So based on this, you will get the logs of your application, and then the export. So if you want to export this specific version of your app, so we saw that we had different versions, right? The development, staging, and the product, the development environment, staging environment, and the production. So based on your preference, you can export that specific application as a DS file, right? So this is about the setting. Apart from this, we have remove from environment. So at some specific point of time, if you want to remove the app from the environment, it is possible. So we'll talk about this in the later part. And now let's also understand another part of the particular application, where how do you push an application, a new application that you're creating from scratch, into the environment. So far, we talked about how you can push an existing application. Let me also cover how you can create an application from scratch and push it into the environment. So for this, I'm creating a solution from scratch. I'm creating an application, ZHA employee onboarding. And here you can see we have the option called enable environment. Once I have this enabled, and I'll create the form from scratch. I'll create the form here, name, email, phone number. So these are basic details. So we have a sample application created, and now you can see we have the same staging, production, and the development. So this is about how you can create an application from scratch and push it to environment. When you check out the environment tab, this application that we created, ZHA employee onboarding, is available, where we have the changes also present. And however, you can see under the staging, we have not published any of the application version, and under the production as well, we do not have any application that has been published, right? So this is about how you can create an application from scratch and push it into the environment, and post this the same component. You will be able to publish the development into the staging to the production for your testing purpose, right? Now that we have an idea about how you can push your application into environments and test them out, we will also understand a concept called version that you have within the creator platform. So when you are creating different set of changes within the application, each of it would create a logical version of the changes that you are making. So these version histories will show component level changes that you are making based on the version that you are providing. This would allow you to track and compare what changes has been released into the live or released into the production of the application. So where and how does this version details of your application would look like when you are pushing an app into the environment? So this is a sample page where you can see the version title, the application versions, and the description of the version, and the version type here, major, minor, or what type of version, and who has created the changes over there will be listed, and when, at what point of time it was created. So let me take you to the demo. So here you can see in the tab, we have something called as version history. Once I click on to version history, you can find the minor change, major changes, along with the version title and who has created them. Once you click onto the version, you can see the details of the same. If I just get into the details, you have the overall information of the version, right? So based on this, I'll be able to check out the version. So now we were discussing about removing an application from environment. So I just simply need to click on to remove from environment, and you can see we do not have any other changes, so we'll retain the production environment here. Let's click on to proceed, and here again you will be receiving a pop-up window that all the application earlier changes that you made in the other environment will be removed, and the developers who were added into the environment will also be removed. So if you want to add the developer, you need to re-add them once you have removed them from the environment. So let me just accept this and remove it. So now this application is removed from the environment. So let's check out the app. Right. So let me enter into the edit mode. Let me try to remove it once again. Yeah. Right. Now you can see it has been successfully removed. Now let me try to access it in the live mode. Right. So this is the application. Let's try to enter into the edit mode here. Now you can see only we have the access this application provided to you. So based on this, you can directly remove an application from the environment and perform any other changes if you want to do from there, right? So this is about few of the components that we wanted to highlight. Now that we have come to the end of this session, I'd like to quickly highlight few key pointers that you can note them down when you are working with the environments. So when an app is getting added or when you are removing an application from the environments, developers will be removed whenever you add an app or remove an application. So you will have to once again add the developers if you are adding an app into environment or removing an app into the from the environment, right? And then you can add up to 10 applications to the environment at the same time. So when you are adding app to the environments, you can add up to 10 application at a single point of time, right? And you can publish the changes to the staging or production only when you have changes in the development. So here you can see under the environments, we have the changes available, right? In the development section, if you have any changes available, only then I can publish it into the next stage, right? And for some applications that you have accessed from the marketplace or the developer zone, those applications cannot have the environments enabled, right? So this is all we wanted to share with you regarding the environment, starting from how what are the different types of environments that we have, how you can push an application, existing application or a new application into environment, how the data are siloed with different environment. So how do you remove an application from an environment? So far, the overall application development and testing and the publishing of an application, right? So now that we have come to the end of this particular session, we would like to share few other upcoming sessions that we have. So we have our learning table series. So that is a monthly webinar that where we will focus on few of the feature based aspects in Zoho Creator. For the coming month, February 5th, we are bridging the operational gaps using Creator with a smart incident management. So we have created a smart incident management solution with the Zoho Creator platform based on few features. And if you are interested in attending that specific session, you can make use of this QR code and register yourself. So this happens for 3 different time zones. Based on your preference, you can register them. And my co-trainer will also be sharing the registration link in the chat tab as well. And similar to this month Tech Connect series, we also have the Tech Connect session that will be happening on February 12th. So we'll be focusing on another advanced concept in Creator. So this upcoming session will happen on February 12th for 3 different time zone. So if you have already registered for this particular session, do not worry, you're already automatically registered for the upcoming session as they are recurring ones. And in case if you know someone who will be interested in attending the Tech Connect session, please do share the link or this QR code with them so that they can join with us for the upcoming sessions in the Tech Connect. And apart from this, if you would like to visit our earlier Tech Connect session or earlier learning table series, you can make use of this course link that is available. You can scan this QR code or make use of the short URL and explore our earlier handled LTS, where we would have focused on the industry based solutions, and our Creator Tech Connect, where we have focused on few other advanced concepts in Creator as well. So you can scan this or make use of this short URL link and access the free course that is available for you. Yeah, thank you everyone for actively participating with us throughout the session. So we hope that we have answered all your questions, and yeah, so we'll be closing the session now, and we look forward for your participation in our upcoming webinars and other trainings as well. Thank you.